to another edition of the S&D podcast, sponsored by the Schmuck Sports. Dan here with Steve. You just listened to Division 1.1, Violence in a Season. Welcome to the show, Steve. How's it going tonight?
Everything's good. Everything's good. No complaining out of me. Before we get started tonight, first off, everybody, we'd like to shoot out our thoughts and prayers to the tragedy over in Oklahoma City. The tornado that went through on Monday, the 20th, I believe it was, or the 19th? The 20th. The tornado that went through Oklahoma on the 20th. Our thoughts and prayers are out for everybody. Donate, do your part. Everybody who listens to our show knows what it's like to lose everything. Well, doesn't know what it's like to lose everything, but the same thing happened with us back in October with Sandy. It's a disaster that couldn't be avoided. So donate, just like you want the people to donate to our towns and our area. They're looking for help now. Sending food, sending clothes, sending just 99 cents. I think it is the tax. What is it? $10? $10 to the Red Cross. So do your part. Our thoughts and prayers are out to everybody in Oklahoma.
Absolutely. And also before we what a nice gesture Kevin Durant did.
Yes, everyone's saying he only gave $1 million, but
those
$1 million.
Dude, $1 million is $1 million.
If he wants to donate me $1 million, he's more than welcome to.
It's really a nice gesture, and I'm sure a lot more Thunder are gonna be.
Yes, the Thunder themselves are doing it,
and I'm sure a couple people like Harden, and I'm sure a lot of others are gonna be.
Bradford set up a thing also.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that. So it's good, nice seeing athletes taking care of the community like a lot of people did for Sandy and everything like that.
Yes. So. Exciting show for you tonight, especially after coming off last week. We had a very exciting show.
Yeah, it was a great show last week. I hope everybody enjoyed that listened.
Thanks again to Andy from Eyes on Isles.
We're becoming friendly with Andy as the weeks and days are going on. Totally awesome guy. So if you don't have him on Twitter, check him out. Eyes on Isles. He had a great. It's not just Islander stuff, even though it's an Islander website. It's everything like that. So
he's also doing some Ranger stuff as well now.
Today with Torts. So good stuff on that.
So check him out. Also check out Division 1.1. The band we use, they are out of New Jersey. Tonight's song, Violence in Season. Great group, guys. We're still in talks with them. They will be on with us soon. Give it a little time.
Yeah,
we'll get them.
Yeah, no one's worried. It's okay. They're doing their own thing. So
yes,
recording music. So that's their main priority. So when I could see them coming on towards football season.
Yes, me too. We do have a fun show tonight. We are going to do a little bit of hockey tonight. The Rangers are on life support.
Yeah, they're on life support. Their game's going on as we're speaking. So
on the 23rd.
By the time you're listening, the Rangers are either going to be on golf or they fight for another day.
And also we're going to bring in, I know Dan's kind of upset this week because of the Knicks.
Yeah.
We're going to bring in.
We'll get more into that. I'm obviously mad, but it is what it is.
And we will be joined later on to talk about the Knicks with SchmuckSports.com co-founder Keith Black, who's been on with us before. Excited to have him on with us later. He's going to do some NBA talk with us as well, not just the Knicks. We'll do a season review like we did with Andy for the Knicks. And also an off-season preview type show with Keith later on. So let's play a little more Division 1.1, and we'll be right back to get the show started. And welcome back to the S&D Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Steven and Dan are here. You listen to Division 1.1 Violence in Season tonight. We would like to welcome in our special guest, the co-founder of SchmuckSports.com. Welcome back to the show. He's been on a couple times with us. Welcome back, Keith.
Welcome back, Keith.
How's it going, guys?
Under shitty circumstances that you're back with us, unfortunately. The Knicks tape ran out of tape.
Or like some people, or like the Nets joke that got unraveled.
Yeah.
Machine.
Yeah.
They got caught in the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was just one of those series that you got to tip that your hat to the Pacers. The Knicks got cold, and today we finding out there was a bunch of injuries, even though they're not really excuses because they were playing.
I mean, my attitude with injuries is if you're out there, you got to play. And, like, I understand like, guys are going to be limited, but, like, you're out there, so you got to play. Like,
right.
Absolutely.
You know.
Just so everybody knows, we are via Skype with Keith tonight, so we appreciate that.
Or no.
So, what was your main underlining reason why the Knicks lost this series? And I'm sure it could be Keith is an outside Knicks fan. He's your average Knicks fan. Like most Knicks fans, he'll have different insight opposed to the average Knicks fan. What was your underlining thing? Let me see if we agree on.
You know, I mean, it really came down to two things. J.R. Smith is the most glaring one, but I think the worst one was actually the way Tyson Chandler played. And he got dominated. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And, you know, it looked like he might have been injured. It looked like something might have been wrong, but Hibbert was taking him to school every single game.
Absolutely. I don't know. If you didn't listen last week, I pretty much made that as a case too. It looked like Tyson Chandler was just getting his manhood taken away. It was just embarrassing. It was great to see like after watching the game last night with the Pacers and the Heat, I was able to say it. But Frank Vogel is a very good underrated coach.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's just that they were more physical. I mean, they're more physical in the post. They beat up Tyson Chandler. I mean, Kenyon Martin was okay, but I mean, if you're relying on Kenyon Martin in the playoffs, like, you're probably not going to win.
My manager brought up a good point today. Was it more of Vogel, or was it more of the defensive system, in your opinion, Keith, that Shaw brought in? Brian Shaw brought in.
I mean, I really like Frank Vogel as a coach. I know he's getting a lot of flack right now for what happened last night, and I was sort of chiming in on that he didn't really. I don't think that he made the right move, and I've heard some arguments the other way that he did make the right move last night, not playing Hibbert. My personal opinion is that he's a great coach and he had them motivated to play, and I don't think that Mike Woodson necessarily had all his guys focused and ready to play. And that comes down to maybe being a disciplinarian toward JR, but all these guys believe in Frank Vogel and they stand by him. And I think the players stand by Woodson too, but Woodson sort of lets guys get away with stuff. And I think Woodson is Vogel really has a team that is much more cohesive, and they played a lot smarter than we did. And even Frank Vogel said today that the way Miami attacked Roy Hibbert was a lot smarter than the way the Knicks attacked Roy Hibbert.
Oh, of course, because they are able to attack. The Knicks are just outside shooters and just please God make a shot.
Live and die by the three ball.
Live and die by the three ball, and obviously we can't complain because we were happy. We won our fair share of games. We were the second seed in the conference this year, so it would be very asinine of us to complain about it now. But it just felt with this whole series that we got out-hustled. Even the games we won, we were out-hustled at every facet of the game, majority of the nights. And if we hit a couple of shots and we made a couple extra rebounds, we could have easily played Monday night for Game 7. And that's what's frustrating. There wasn't that second score that we had.
You know what else happened in Game 6 was that Iman Shumpert got extremely hot in the third quarter and didn't take one shot in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Why is he not shooting the ball in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, I like Iman Shumpert, and his jump shot has developed, and I'm sure you guys are going to ask me what they're going to do this offseason, and the answer is a lot of what they're going to be doing is crossing their fingers and hoping Iman Shumpert gets even better, because that's one of the only ways they have to really get better. Woodson stayed with J.R. Smith way too long, and J.R. Smith is going to he can win you a game. He can win you a game, but when he is cold, you will lose. And that's just the kind of player he is. So, you know, I don't know why Iman Shumpert didn't take more shots. Carmelo did not shoot particularly well in the fourth quarter, even though he was great through three quarters, and J.R. Smith did not shoot well at all in the series. So in Game 6, I mean, it really came down to that fourth quarter, and they did not execute, and the Pacers did, and good on them, you know?
All right, I have one more question. I know he's your favorite Knick now, as joking, obviously. What I was glad to see that Chris Copeland and the minutes that he did have, granted it was too little too late out of Woodson, hindsight 2020. I was very glad to see how Cope actually showed up and played in the playoffs and actually sank shots unlike other Knick players. Do you think it was a little too late for Woodson to play Cope? Was it just fair?
I mean, my problem is that
He doesn't play any defense.
well, he doesn't play defense, and I like Copeland as a player. He did not play well when he got minutes in the Boston series. He was
absolutely not. He had the deer in the headlights.
But he went from starter to basically not playing, which doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. But he was good enough to start in the Boston series, and he was not good enough to get any minutes in the Indiana series until it was basically too late. I feel like he earned his minutes in the regular season. I thought he played a very good regular season, and would we have won the series if Copeland was playing all 6 games? Like,
absolutely not. No,
probably not. But when J.R. Smith is still out there and he's just missing shots, and you have Copeland who can make a three. Like, my attitude is J.R. Smith isn't working, so use someone else. I mean, you have to know that this is the kind of player that J.R. Smith is. And when he is hot, like he was at the beginning of the Boston series, and he's amazing. And it's so fun to watch him play, and he's got such an attitude, such a swagger about him. But when he's not shooting well, you have to know when to pull the plug. And we didn't know how to pull the plug. And maybe, I don't know if Woodson did pull the plug and Copeland came out and he was horrible, would people say, oh, you got to stick with J.R. Smith, he's a sixth man of the year? Maybe that would have happened too. So who knows?
It was one of those win-lose situations. Like, Copeland comes in, gets hot, everyone criticizes him for not being in. Copeland comes in, it's cold, you get criticized for not playing J.R. Smith more.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Last week I absolutely had it with J.R. Smith, like almost every other Knicks fan. I was like, I would rather lose by 10 points with Copeland, in knowing that Copeland's trying and he's actually showing an effort, opposed to J.R. Smith. I'm not saying J.R. Smith doesn't care, but he has just awful body language, and you could just tell, just get off the court, please.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing us, kind of thing. So
he's a streak guy.
Yeah.
So when he is confident, he can hit literally any shot on the court that you would realistically take. I mean, we saw in Game 2 of the Celtics series, I mean, he basically hit a half-court jumper. And that's when he was hot. He can hit all your shots. But when he starts missing, he gets in his head, and I don't think he has the mental strength, really, to be a guy that misses. When he's on, he's super confident, and he looks great. But when he's off, I mean, there's really no getting out of it. Not until the next game.
Well, 4 games.
Yeah, he would hit a couple of threes here and there, and people would say, "Oh, he's going to get hot. He's going to get hot," and it never happened. So.
All right, one more J.R. Smith thing in this series. Did J.R. Smith miss that shot?
Yeah, I did follow it.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny. Some of the commentary I thought was pretty good. And then as the Game 6 clock was winding down, J.R. Smith missed a 3-pointer, and it said, fittingly, the Knicks season ends on a J.R. Smith miss, because that's exactly why the season ended. It was funny. I wish they did more stuff.
They should have had, someone should have made one, is Copeland on the court?
Yeah.
That would have been a good one to have. You brought up Amon Shumpert before, and now we're gonna segue. This is the S&D podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. We are being via Skype with Schmuck Sports co-founder Keith Black. You were talking about Shumpert before. My question is, if the Clippers and another team call you and say, "Listen, Chris Paul's available.
Well,
we
he's a
have
free
a
agent
trade."
anyway, so it would have to be
A sign and trade type thing, and they say the only way you're getting him is Shumpert. Are you making the move, Keith? Making that move?
If it's for Chris Paul, I'm making that move. There are a lot of guys in the league. I think you might be surprised that I would say the answer is no. Mostly because they would be sort of, repeat guys. Like for Dwight Howard, would I do it?
No.
Else we gave up, and if he was healthy. But for Chris Paul, I really think that having a guy like Chris Paul, who I think wants to be on one of these super teams, and there are going to be rumors until he puts pen to paper somewhere about he's going to create his own super team, or he wants to go to the Knicks or Brooklyn or whoever he wants to go to create a super team, the Lakers even. I would trade him on Shumpert for a lot of players in the league, but I would be hesitant to do it for a guy that I'm worried about being injured, someone who can't stay healthy. Not that Chris Paul is that guy, but Kevin Love is that guy, and Kevin Love might be available. LaMarcus Aldridge might be available. I don't think I'd do it for either of those two guys. I just think that Iman Shumpert, he wants to be here. The fans love him.
Yeah, he's my favorite Knick.
He could sit on a stoop and look like the guy from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
No, he is my favorite Knick, and I was very happy to see him come back from the ACL injury, because he is our best defender other than Tyson Chandler.
I mean, he's not that great shooting off the dribble, but catch and shoot, he's gotten so leagues. He looks like a different player on offense than he did last year. So I really think he can continue to get better, much better. So
and I like his vocal presence. You can tell that the team loves him. They gave him a lot of crap for technically still being a rookie, but the overall team loves him, and he's a great team guy. And like you said, if it is for the right trade, I would do it. But I think we need to keep guys like Shump, because if guys with Shump, we're going to be able to build on this team. He's actually the youngest guy on the team, so I would love to keep him, unless like you said, Chris Paul or some
that
elite.
Almost seem impossible at this point,
Yeah, and I don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. But I mean, I've heard some rumors about how else they plan to get better, which maybe they would throw him into a trade that involved Amari, or a trade that involved Chandler for somebody. Maybe they would do that, but I don't think that there's realistically even a trade out there that would entice me enough that would involve Shumpert as the key piece. I don't think that the Clippers are going to say, "Hey, to do this sign and trade, we really need Iman Shumpert from you." I just don't see that as something that's going to happen.
Well, there would have to be a third team.
Yeah.
No question about it. And you got to think that you can argue that maybe that third team could end up being a team that has the amnesty clause, who's willing to take on Amari and amnesty him type thing. Or like I was actually talking to my manager today about the possibility of, if the Rockets are going all in for Dwight Howard, what if they don't get him? Can you make that call and say, "Hey, we need your help on this trade," and end up giving up maybe Chandler and Amari?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they would even get back, but I mean, they're going to look to move Amari. It sounds like. I don't know who really realistically is going to take it, but in any trade,
the Jewish guy,
you have to be with Amon, I would think, for something big.
Yeah, it would be silly though if we were to trade Tyson and Starmar, we'd have no one up in the middle, and that would be silly.
You would like Dwight Howard, like that would
But
be.
realistically, how realistic? That's just so far of a pipe dream. It's going to be difficult. The Knicks are this was the year for the Knicks to win, and with all the age and everything like that, the Knicks are going to be in a difficult state on how they're going to rebuild after this shortened expectation type of defeat in the playoffs. Like guys like Jason Kidd should be back because he's contracted. Like I don't see J.R. Smith coming back. I'll be honest with you.
I think he wants to stay. I mean, there are some people who are sort of conspiracy theorists that think, oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we'll give Chris Smith, J.R. Smith's brother, a deal, and that might lower the price for J.R. Smith a little bit because we gave Chris Smith a deal. I don't know how realistic that is. He won the Sixth Man of the Year. I would expect him to go get paid.
That's exactly my point, and we don't have the cap space right now.
Exactly.
And honestly, I appreciate everything that JR did this year, winning the Sixth Man and everything. I'm not trying to sound spoiled, and I'm getting a little blinded because of how shitty his series was. But let him get paid. Honestly, we don't need. We could find someone else, hopefully, that is able to produce the way he produces eventually along the line, and we just don't need the headache. It just became a headache every day. What did JR do before the game the night before? Was it either with Rihanna? He's just trying to get pipe every night, even though we all joked about it because that's what fans do. I'm the first culprit of doing it, but after a point, if you're shooting 3 for 50, it's not a joke anymore. It's like, dude, you gotta stop partying at the middle of the night. Granted, I would party too if Rihanna asked me to party, but
yeah, but I don't think she did. I think he was just chilling there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
but you get what I'm saying. It's just at the end of the year, it just turned into a headache, and it wasn't basketball first as much as he said it was, and the rumors saying that he turning into a cokehead. It was just a rough.
Yeah, the rumor of that he was having withdrawals during the game, and which is why he was struggling, is just incredible.
And that's why rumor had it that he was sick.
Right, because he was having so much withdrawals from the cocaine during games.
I mean, my dad and I joked that like when he was sick, he was hungover basically, and that I think that's a realistic viewpoint to have, and that goes back to the coaching. I mean, I know that J.R. Smith's. If you read the Grantland article that came out at the beginning of this year, they said how, a lot of coaches really didn't believe in J.R. Smith, and Mike Woodson basically told him, you're my guy, and don't be, don't be afraid to go out and shoot. And for a while that works, because a coach having confidence in a guy like J.R. Smith gives J.R. Smith the confidence to go out and hit those shots. The problem is when that comes back to bite you and you let him go a little bit too far and you let him stay in a little bit too long. If he was really going out, that is the fault of the coaching staff. I mean, the coaching staff has to crack down on it, and I'm not saying they have to be everybody's babysitter. These are grown men who are allowed to do what they want, but, the coaching staff, if he's going to go out and do something stupid, then like partying the day before a game, then he's going to go do that. But the coaching staff shouldn't be sitting there, with their, sitting on their hands, just letting him do it. So if it's true, that's really disappointing. I don't know if it is. And well, I guess we'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out at some point, more details on it, maybe when he leaves.
Right. I saw an interesting, I think it was Frank Isola who said it the other day on Twitter. What are your thoughts on Kyle Korver on the Knicks?
I mean, if we're talking about replacing J.R. Smith, we need a guy who's going to come out and he's going to be able to hit some shots. So I was sort of poking around and seeing who's in that area. Kyle Korver is one of those guys that they could probably get pretty cheap. Or for, he made $5 million last year, and I think that would be about what the mid-level exception that they have is. Same thing. I like Korver. I like Nick Young is sort of in that J.R. Smith range, but we could probably get him for J.R. Smith money, and he could probably produce at about the same rate. Kyle Korver, though, isn't going to create shots for himself.
It would be having another Novak if Novak does in fact stay on the team.
But the thing with Korver is that he's a very underrated defensive player. And honestly, you can give Melo the ball and have him create the shot for Korver. Or you can have a guy like Felton create the shot for him.
Right. I mean, offensively, you're talking about a guy who is basically Steve Novak. And defensively, you're talking about a guy who's better than Steve Novak. So, yeah, he would be an upgrade from Steve Novak. The problem with that is he doesn't really replace JR's scoring.
Not at all.
And that's what you're going to have to do. And that's why I sort of thought about Nick Young would be like in that range. I don't love Nick Young, but, he would be a guy. He's a guy, he sort of has that New York swagger about him as well. I don't know if he's even interested in coming to New York. And so we'll see. I mean, I would like to see him. I would like to see Novak come back. I'm a Novak guy. Other than that, in terms of small forwards and shooting guards that are available, I mean, it's really not that great of a class. And then it's not like the Knicks have a ton of money to do anything anyway. Unless they sign more veterans.
Yeah, which we'll probably do. I'm not sure what pick we have at the moment, but
I believe,
or even if we do have a pick, what do you think cheaply for draft purposes? Who do you think? What position would you want to go after?
Ideally, if there's a scorer there, a guy who can just come off the bench and his role is to score, then we don't even have to worry about signing Kyle Korver and Nick Young. We can just draft them. Otherwise, it really depends to me on whether or not they're confident that Tyson Chandler can even be on the floor, because they might just need a big body.
I think at the end of the day with Tyson Chandler I think he just ran down of injuries, of it being Olympic. It was Olympic summer, so he's played forever.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think he rushed himself back from the injury that I'm sure if it happened in November, it would have been like a month or a little bit longer, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like we said, that's not an excuse. But I think Tyson will be back ready and as good as ever.
I don't know. He kept saying that, I'm healthy, I feel great. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I didn't believe it either.
I not believe it, because if the way he played in the Indiana series is him totally healthy now, that's not good.
Not good at all.
That's a cut right there.
Humphreys made him just Hibbert. I'm sorry, just embarrassed him. We're gonna shift gears now. With the conference finals going on right now.
Final four.
What's your takes on both series?
I really kind of wanted to see Memphis win. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, I'm a big Zach Randolph fan, and I guess I kind of wanted them to prove me wrong, because I sort of, when they made the Rudy Gay trade, I sort of said, they're saying that they care more about not being over the tax than they do about winning. But it seemed to work out pretty well for them. The Spurs are just, they're just so good, and they play so well together, and Popovich is such a great coach, and it's like, I don't know if Memphis is going to get any better, but I would like to see, we're going to see San Antonio, I think, in the finals, and I think they're going to be playing the Miami Heat.
Yeah, that's a snooze one, of course. But I think the Pacers are going to give them a little bit more of a fight than everybody thinks.
My issue is, and Simmons said this today, the Pacers probably should have won last night, Wednesday night, game 1. and it's really hard. Miami's lost like 3 times in their last 40 games or something. It's really hard. It's going to be really hard to effectively beat them 5 times in 6 games because they should have won last night and they didn't.
Right.
Those are games. If you're going to beat Miami, you have to win, and they didn't do it. They're going to be a tough team, and I think they'll probably get one at home. But I mean, the Heat are just so tough to guard, and that's sort of where that Frank Vogel thing comes from. There's not really many good options defensively if they're playing for one shot. I mean, I killed him for not having Hibbert in because LeBron got to the basket. But with 2.2 seconds left, most of the time he's going to settle for a jumper, and basically Hibbert is not effective if Chris Bosh is standing at the 3-point line and he has to guard Chris Bosh. So, if Indiana was going to make this a series, they had to win last night, I think. As it stands now, I think that they're basically, delaying the inevitable, which is going to be Miami heading to the finals. And, we'll see if they can defend. I don't know. LeBron is amazing. So
Yeah, LeBron's LeBron.
LeBron's kind of good.
He's kind of good.
So basically, you're saying it's going to be San Antonio and Miami.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. I would have liked to have seen
Memphis, the feel good story of it.
Memphis. I mean, it's just like kind of weird to me that like the Grizzlies could be in the NBA Finals. It doesn't seem like
They're already in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying before this series, there were a lot of people who said the Grizzlies are going to win this series, and I would have liked to have seen it happen. I don't. I just think that they're overmatched right now, and being down 2 games against a team like San Antonio, who they know how to close series and they know how to win series and they know how to win games. It seems insurmountable, and it's going to look really bad if Memphis comes back. I'm going to look really bad if Memphis comes back from it, but I just don't see it happening.
No, it's pretty much of the Spurs being there forever and just being that underrated team. No one seems to like the Spurs. It's really funny.
I was thinking about this with my buddy. Tony Parker is like the second or third best point guard in the league.
Yeah.
And he's never mentioned in the same breath with like Chris Paul, and I guess nobody is, but like people, I think he just sort of gets no love, and he's been amazing. He's been amazing all year, and he's been amazing the last few years. But I guess people just get kind of bored because it's the same 3 guys, and they just win.
I wouldn't mind being a Spurs fan with all the winning. It's like oh hum, like they're spoiled, but it's good for them. I would love to see them knock off the Heat if they do in fact play each other, but it's going to be tough to see. But Pop and the team is going to battle. So
I'll admit it. I picked Memphis in 6.
Yeah, I mean, you were not alone. A lot of people really thought that Memphis was going to win this series, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not after losing 2 in a row.
Since we are talking with the Spurs, my manager and I got in this debate. Can you consider Popovich the second best coach we've ever seen in our generation?
In our generation, who did he have second?
What
My question is, if we all agree that Phil Jackson is the first best coach, then who would be second?
He said it was Popovich, and we both agreed on it. We were actually trying to figure out who was third, but I wanted to see if you would actually agree that he would actually be the second.
I totally agree. I mean, I guess even though he doesn't have rings, I guess Jerry Sloan would be third in our era, and that, I mean,
I would argue Pat Riley in our era.
Who?
Pat Riley.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
So
yeah, no, I mean, I would say that it would definitely be Popovich. I mean, I heard some stats, and since Tim Duncan has come into the league, besides strike-shortened seasons, he's never had a season with less than 50 wins. That's an incredible level of consistency. I mean, he's like 36 years old, and he's playing at his career averages this season. So he's basically been at 36 what he was at 27, which is basically unheard of. Simmons was making the argument that he's the best player of the post-Jordan era, post-Jordan pre-LeBron's rise era, and where most people would say it's Kobe or Shaq. The consistency with and the longevity of Duncan has just been absurd, and I don't think that you can discount the way Popovich has handled everything. I don't know if he would necessarily be the same guy under, I don't know, Mike D'Antoni, Mike Brown, whoever else, like Coach X. You know, he plays to win he coaches to win championships, and he does it well. So I don't think that there's a better coach besides Phil Jackson than Pop.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. Speaking of Phil Jackson, let's end it with Phil Jackson. Is he and where is he coaching next year?
He is not coaching, but he is a GM president type role somewhere. I want to say it's not going to be New York. I want to say it's going to be with the LA Lakers, but that's only if they fire Mike D'Antoni, which maybe is likely. But I don't think he wants to coach. That's the sense I get, unless he's going to come back and coach the Heat, basically. But I do think somebody hires him somewhere to be some sort of GM, president, player personnel type guy, office guy.
Well, I brought up last week the idea of if Chris Paul does sign with the Clippers, him staying in LA and possibly coaching the Clippers.
Yeah, does he want to? I don't know if he wants to coach the Clippers. I don't know him personally. I don't get the sense that he wants to coach, and I don't get the sense that he's getting married. I think to Jeannie Buss.
Yeah, that's not happening. And like I told Steve when he brought this up last week, I was like, there's not a shot because they're not that team that's ready to win a championship. They're a good team, great team, yes, but they're not ready to win a championship because I think Blake Griffin's one of the most overrated players in the league, and it's pretty much Chris Paul and everybody else was just able to make shots. I don't think particularly that great of a team if you really look down to it in a nitty-gritty aspect of it.
They were definitely hoping DeAndre Jordan would be better than he was this year, and I mean he's a fine center, but he is not. I don't think he's where they wanted him to be, And I agree with you. I don't think Blake Griffin. I mean, he gets those highlights and the dunks they look amazing, but at the end of the day, can he go out there and win you a game? And I don't think he can. I think Chris Paul can win you a game, and I think Blake Griffin with Chris Paul can win you a game, but I don't think that Blake Griffin can go out there and dominate the floor quite like you would want him to. And that's not to say he can't be a great player, but I don't think that he has the type of game where if he's your top guy, you're probably a 7 or 8 seed. You're sort of in that weird, like, I don't even know, like where the Celtics are now, kind of zone, So, but I don't think he'll come back and coach. No, to answer your question.
Alrighty. Well, we would like to thank Keith for joining us. Check out the website, schmucksports.com. Keith, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Keith.
Enjoy the rest of the playoffs. I'm sure I'll talk to you.
Have a good night, Keith.
Night.
SND Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Basketball Association or any of its affiliates.
And welcome back to the S&D Podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Steven and Dan are here. This week's song, Division 1.1, Violence in Season. Awesome song. Another awesome song.
Yes. First things first, my playoff beard is gone. I couldn't take it anymore.
The itch?
No, not the itch. Let's keep that family program.
I meant on your face.
Oh. Anyway, I don't have any of those problems. Let's clear that out in the air. No, the Knicks lost, and there was no reason for me to keep this beard, and it was just getting gingery and gingery and gingery.
So you're looking more and more like Justin Turner every day.
Yes. So yeah, I just said screw it. Both of my teams are out. But we had a good run. I sent Steve the picture. I don't know why he didn't post it on.
I don't think I got it.
You didn't get it?
No.
All right. Well, I emailed it to you. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The beard is gone. It had its good month run. Well, let's move on and talk about the hockey.
Rangers are on life support.
Rangers are on life support.
Boston Bruins are holding on to the plug.
They're holding on to the plug. It's up to the Rangers to capitalize on finishing Game 4 at the moment, which is being played right now. They're in the middle of a third period, and it's 3-3 at the moment. So the Rangers have fought back. Once again, they actually scored a power play goal, so mazel tov on that. They had a lot of controversy going into this game with Tortorella and benching Brad Richards.
Well, he called him. He didn't bench him. He called him.
Yeah.
It was a phone call.
Okay, but he healthy scratched him. So,
well, that's what happens when a guy only plays. He's averaging, I think it was like 8 minutes a game. Like you have fourth liners who average more minutes than that.
I think Brad Richards has earned the respect to play more than fourth line minutes that he can get out of the slump. I know it's been a lot of this season, but in the playoffs he's been proven, and he's won a cup for Torts and a Conn Smythe. I just think it's a little silly for him to bench one of the veterans on the team. Granted, how poorly he has played and how poorly the Rangers have played. I know it's definitely a try to shot and prove a point kind of thing, but not when you're down 3-0.
You need that leadership.
Yeah, it's not when you're 3-0, and you know he could score at any moment of any game because he can get hot like any other goal scorer. I don't see the need that they. It was just it was just very confusing why they would do it of all the games now. But right now, the game is awesome right now. It's a great game so far with 4 minutes left, and it's 3-3. I'm sure one of us will have ADD moment and we'll cheer. Hopefully, we go into overtime by the time we
finish
this segment.
segment.
But I definitely just jinxed it. So Ranger fans or Bruin fans are going to murder me tomorrow morning if this happens right now. Anyway,
you said it the best before. Like, even I feel bad for Henrik Lundqvist at this point. It's just like you can make 80. He can make 80 saves a game.
Like I've been saying like I've been saying all year, and this series has been the capper of it. It's just he can't do everything. Like the other night when they said his shoulders hurt, I made a silly joke and I'm shocked it's not his back. Because the Rangers will lose like 3-1, 3-2, 2-1, those kind of games, and it's a crappy rebound goal that hopefully wish a defenseman was able to get to. The Rangers, other than the Game 7 win against the Caps, their offense hasn't been around. On the road, they're atrocious other than Game 7. So if the Rangers pull this game out and play Game 5 on Saturday in Boston, all hell's going to break loose, and it's going to be tough to see if the Rangers could bounce back.
I mean, I know Nash finally got his one goal, but whenever he wants to start playing would be a really good idea.
Well,
right now with 3.5 minutes left would be a really good time for him to be the Rick Nash.
I'm going to give Nash a little slack because the Bruins are targeting him.
It's been the Washington series also, though.
Yeah.
It's no excuse. He's one of the best players in the world.
He was okay in the Capitals series.
He had assists, but he couldn't score goals. The Rangers relied on him to score goals. I was talking to my friend today. One thing the Rangers
he gave up all the third period goals in the regular season, and the well dried up.
Yeah, just think about all those clutch goals. How many games the Rangers would have actually won?
All of them?
Yeah, if he just scored in every third period.
The
best was the person. I think it was to Evan Roberts, to Joe and Evan. Somebody called up and complained. Oh no, it was to Boomer and Carden. either yesterday morning or this morning.
I didn't get to listen this morning, so I'm
I'm
sure Boomer poo-pooed it right away, as he should. I'm sure
someone
it's very
complained that he only
asinine.
scored 30 goals. Nash only scored like 30 goals this year.
Yeah.
It was a 48-game season.
Yeah.
I'll take 6 guys combining for 30 goals in a 48 games.
And I know Boomer from listening to Boomer pretty much every single day, me getting ready for work. He definitely, even Carton, who says
he stuck up for him too.
Even Carton with the most asinine comments every now and then, because I know he does it for a show, obviously. But even Carton definitely defended that, because that's just asinine to even say something stupid like that. See, like, that's the one thing I hate about sports radio. You'll get the fair weather fans of, oh, yeah, he scored 30 goals, and then he'll have, like, a little drought. Oh, this guy sucks. He's no good. And you're like, stop being an ass. You're just being stupid, and just stop talking out of your butt. And it's just, but that's New York for you, and every team has it.
Come on, the games Melo wasn't scoring in.
Oh, yeah, yeah, Melo's the only guy scoring 30 points in a game, but it's Melo's fault because Melo has to do a magic trick up his butt and twirl the ball every other way with 5 guys on him, and no one else scores a basket. That people need to realize that it's a team sport, and it's not just that one particular guy. And no one's gonna understand that, and it's just every sports team has that one guy. The Rangers just have to plug away one shift, one period, one moment,
one chip, whatever Boomer's been saying.
One shift, one period, one game at a time, and that's how they gotta just survive. They just gotta find a way to eke this game out and fight to play for Saturday. That's all the Rangers care about.
You got to worry about Saturday first, and of course the stack.
Well, they got to worry about the next 2 minutes. It's a 2-minute warning right now in the third period. They got to worry about what's going on right now because they're not guaranteed right now to win this game. Actually,
right.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully, this is not a kiss of death.
Of course, the stat came out this week after they lost Game 2. That no team has ever come back 2 straight series down 0-2.
They're fighting through. They're going to be fighting through a lot of.
And I read in the paper this is the 11th time in team history that they're down 0-3.
Okay.
In the playoffs, and surprisingly enough, the first time they ever down that many games, 3-0 in a series, was actually against Boston.
Okay.
In like the 30s.
Oh, when there's only 6 teams and 2 teams only won Stanley Cups?
And basically, it wasn't even a Stanley Cup yet.
Really?
And basically that series went 7. So Ranger fans, you just gotta...
It's nowhere near from being over. The Bruins have been known for being chokes, and the Rangers just gotta get on that hot streak, and you'll see what goes on.
We were listening to the game on the radio the other day, and I think it was Don Maloney who said it the best. It comes down to the depth of the Boston Bruins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Boston Bruins have 4 lines that play.
They have 4 lines, and the Rangers only really have 2, if you really look at it.
The Bruins have 4 lines of players who could play 10 minutes a game.
Yes.
How many teams can actually say they have that?
Maybe the Penguins are the only team.
Maybe. And that's really it with Boston. Boston's... I said it. I think I said it to our buddy Matt that the NHL won.
Oh, and we're forgetting that Tony Krug he's definitely won the MVP of this series so far. The Rangers do not
3 NHL goals all in the series. And I just feel like they want Boston-Pittsburgh because I think I even said it to my buddy Brian earlier in the year that it's going to end up being Boston-Pittsburgh because they are the best 2 teams. And that's what it should come down to, the best 2 teams. There are other series. What'd you have this series, by the way?
This series, Rangers in 7.
Rangers in 7.
So it's not looking too good.
Well, it could be.
Well,
they just have to win every game the rest of the way.
Well, I would have to have a reverse 2004.
You'd have to have the Yankee version.
Yes. Which could happen tonight if the Rangers pull it off, but...
Yeah, but then they're going to have to go to Boston and win also.
Well, the Red Sox had to go to the Bronx and win. So anyway, that was ages ago. We were in high school when that happened.
I remember that.
Yes, that was fun. Anyway, on to the next Eastern Conference series.
Which is also over.
That series is over. The Senators waved away for last night. It's 3-0, right? Or no, it's 3-1.
3-1. They won a game. Ottawa got one at home.
Yeah, they got one at home in overtime. So the Penguins, like I said, I knew they're gonna learn from their mistakes in the Islanders series, and sure enough, that has happened, and they've dominated this whole series so far, other than that one loss, which I'm sure they had the lead throughout the game and probably didn't give up the lead until the game was over. So
they did. I believe they were winning that game before they lost that.
Yeah, that was one of those games that probably dominated the whole game, and then they just gave up and then lost in overtime. But the Penguins are the Penguins. They're the class of the conference, so don't expect much. So with that, they're going to just advance and take it easy and see who beats the crap out of each other, either the Rangers or the Bruins. That's all we need to say about that series. They're like the Miami Heat.
They turn that switch on.
Yeah,
and
they're
forget
just so good offensively, and they're able to play defense. Let's move to the Western Conference. The Chicago-Detroit series has been interesting right now.
The very underrated Detroit Red Wings are actually leading that series 2-1. They are currently playing in the second period, tied at 0. In Game 4 over in Detroit. Chicago's just not getting scoring.
Yeah, they're my Stanley Cup pick, so hopefully that turns around. But you knew the Red Wings were gonna give everything they got, because it's one of the rivalry there.
It's not even the rivalry; it's the Red Wings.
Yeah,
just the history of the Red Wings recently. What is it? 21 years, I think it is.
Yeah, something ridiculous like that.
Straight years of making the playoffs. I mean, they barely made the playoffs this year yet. They're probably one of the more underrated teams. And you know what? The past couple of years, we've seen that in every sport.
Yeah.
It's the team that just makes the playoffs who has to fight till the end.
Yep.
That go on the runs.
It's always a hot team, like the Kings last year, and the Super Bowl champions every year seems to be now.
Yeah.
And the World Series champions. Every sport has that except the NBA.
The NBA is fixed. That's why.
Well, yeah, obviously. But that's been fun. Who's winning the Sharks Kings series?
Tied at 2.
So that's
actually been a good series.
Yeah, it's been past my bedtime majority of the game. So I
would like to personally thank Kayla for keeping me updated on that series.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. I've seen her Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so I figured it's been a good series, because every status is like, I'm gonna cry right now. And it's like, okay, cry your little heart out. And by the way, we're actually watching the Blackhawks Red Wings game, and Detroit finally scored their first goal of the game. It's 1-0.
I won't lie, I do have a soft spot for the Red Wings and their organization.
Yeah, you do have family.
I do have family from Detroit in Michigan, from that area, and my mom's uncle, my great uncle, used to send me the Stanley Cup stuff.
That's cool.
So it kind of became a
tradition.
Those became my two teams, the Islanders and Red Wings. So I've always had a soft spot for the Red Wings. As much as I thought they wouldn't win the series, I did pick Blackhawks, I think in 7. Actually, the only person that I know who picked the Red Wings, I believe, was Matt, out of our brackets.
Okay.
I believe it was Matt. Yes, Matt has the Red Wings in 7. And he is the only one.
I probably have the Blackhawks in 6, right?
You have the Matt in 7. I have Blackhawks in 7. Ryan has Blackhawks in 5.
Well, that's not happening.
Phil has Blackhawks in 6. You have Blackhawks in 6.
So
right now, the only series you can possibly get right is the Kings.
Okay.
So you have Kings in 7.
Yes.
So.
Well, what do I have in the Penguin series?
7.
I have it in 7? What was I thinking? Jeez. I should have went with Penguins in 5, like my gut. Anyway, oh well. I don't get paid for those predictions, and I'm no expert.
And don't go to Vegas with the predictions by us, by the way.
Yeah, we gotta get better with that, and I gotta just actually like sit down and look at it.
We'll wait till football. We're practicing for football season. How does that sound, everybody? We're gonna practice for football season.
Yeah.
And because those we do a lot better on than.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's the Stanley Cup. I'm for the show purposes. I hope the Rangers win and we are able to have more Ranger discussions.
If not, then we will find somebody to
baseball. And the Mets are not doing it. So
really? Who would have thought?
Yeah. So anyway,
that was hockey for the week. So we're gonna play a little more Division 1.1, and we'll come right back to end the show.
S&D Podcast is no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back. Right before we finish things off, this is the S&D Podcast. Dan here with Steve, sponsored by the Schmuck Sports. You just listened to our Song of the Week from Division 1.1, Violence in the Season. Let's wrap it up. It was a very good show tonight. Thank you, Keith, for coming on and talking Knicks.
Yes.
It was, like I said in the beginning of that interview, it was not what me and Keith and everybody envisioned the ending of the Knicks season. It was a sad ending to an awesome season. Thanks to the Knicks again for the fun memories. It wasn't what we all wanted, but it was a start. Especially coming from a diehard Knicks fan like myself. A couple years ago, we were just happy to make it to the playoffs. Now that we're in the playoffs and actually won a round, now the sky's the limit, and hopefully the Knicks keep on building. So thanks to Keith again. Hopefully, for a lot of good hockey insight. Once again, keep on checking our friend Andy's blog, Eyes on Isles. He's been plugging along with all the playoffs after the Islanders have unfortunately lost. He's still making daily blogs, and his co-writers are also writing as well. So it's very interesting, and all the other Ranger blogs are decent at the moment as well. Obviously, the standard Blue Shirt United, pretty much the Ranger fan base. The MSG blog is pretty good too with the interviews and everything like that.
Yes.
So, let's see if the Rangers survive this game. Like we said, it's overtime right now at the moment. See if the Rangers play for Saturday. If not, we're going to have a review show.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. And if we have to, I guess we'll... You know what? We could just have like a 15-minute silent period in the middle of our show, and that'll be the Mets segment.
Yeah, crickets.
We'll talk about Harvey's one game a week.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna shoot for, and hopefully Wheeler comes up soon, like they said.
Well, they announced today about 2 to 3 more starts.
Right around the June deadline for the waivers.
June 15th.
No shock.
Well, if it works out perfectly, June 16th, if he starts that day, I have tickets.
Okay,
it's Father's Day.
Okay, that's kind of clutch.
So that would be perfect. So I would prefer that day over the 15th.
Yes.
I'll be at work on the 15th. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would prefer the 16th. So Sandy Olsen, if you're listening, please have him start on the 16th.
Pretty much. Anyway, this is our show this week. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, as always, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yes, and please share us with everybody also, all your friends on Twitter. We're going to do a lot more with Twitter, do some like poll questions on Twitter, so keep us, post us, follow us, and we always follow everybody back on Twitter as well. So just hit us up. We're always willing to talk. Our personal accounts also. We're always there to talk. I hope you guys have a good night. Enjoy the week, guys.